The Tower of London stands as one of the most enduring symbols of British history. A stone fortress that has witnessed nearly a millennium of power struggles, bloodshed, and intrigue. As you approach the tower, its imposing walls rise against the London skyline, a stark reminder of the dark and turbulent times that shaped England. The atmosphere around the tower is heavy with the weight of history, as if the very stones themselves are steeped in the secrets and stories of the past. The story of the Tower of London begins in the aftermath of the Norman conquest of England in 1066. William the Conqueror, having secured his throne through victory at the Battle of Hastings, recognized the need to solidify his rule over a hostile and unfamiliar land. To this end, he ordered the construction of a series of fortifications across England, with the Tower of London as the most formidable of these structures. Built on the site of an old Roman fort, the tower was strategically positioned on the banks of the River Thames, symbolizing Norman authority over the newly conquered city of London. The original structure, known as the White Tower, was completed in 1078. It was a massive stone keep, designed to project strength and dominance over the surrounding landscape. The White Tower, with its thick walls and towering height, was unlike anything the English had seen before. It represented the unyielding power of the Norman kings, a fortress meant to intimidate and control a restless populace. But beyond its function as a military stronghold, the White Tower also served as a royal residence, housing the king and his court in times of both peace and conflict. As the centuries passed, the Tower of London expanded, becoming more than just a fortress or a royal palace. It evolved into a complex of buildings, each with its own purpose and history, all encircled by massive stone walls and defended by a series of towers and gates. The tower's architecture reflected the changing needs and priorities of the monarchs who ruled from within its walls. New structures were added, and old ones were modified, creating a labyrinthine complex where the line between fortress, prison, and palace often blurred. The Tower of London's role as a prison became increasingly significant over the years, particularly during the turbulent reigns of the Plantagenet and Tudor kings. The Tower was not just any prison. It was the place where the most important prisoners in the realm were held, those who posed a direct threat to the crown. The stories of those who were imprisoned in the Tower are tales of ambition, betrayal, and the brutal realities of power. One of the earliest and most tragic prisoners was King Henry VI, a pious man whose reign was marred by the bloody conflict known as the Wars of the Roses. Captured by his enemies, Henry was imprisoned in the Tower for years, his mind deteriorating under the strain. On the night of May 21, 1471, Henry was murdered in the Wakefield Tower, likely on the orders of Edward IV, his rival for the throne. The exact circumstances of his death remain shrouded in mystery, but his bloody death in the heart of the Tower marked the fortress as a place where even kings were not safe. The Tower's dark reputation only grew with the disappearance of the princes in the Tower. Edward V and his younger brother Richard, Duke of York. Imprisoned by their uncle, Richard, Duke of Gloucester, the young princes vanished without a trace in 1483. Their fate remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in British history, with rumors of murder and conspiracy surrounding their disappearance. The image of the two innocent princes, trapped and helpless within the Tower's cold stone walls, has haunted the public imagination for centuries, casting a long shadow over Richard III's reign. The Tudor period brought further bloodshed to the Tower. Under Henry VIII, the fortress became the scene of some of the most notorious executions in English history. Henry's reign was marked by his ruthless pursuit of power and control, which often led to the downfall of those closest to him. The Tower became the final stop for many of Henry's wives and advisors who fell out of favor. Anne Boleyn, Henry's second wife, is perhaps the most famous of these tragic figures. After failing to produce a male heir, Anne was accused of adultery, treason, and incest, a concoction of charges designed to destroy her reputation and justify her execution. In May 1536, Anne was brought to the Tower, where she awaited her fate in the same royal apartments where she had once celebrated her coronation. Her execution on Tower Green was swift, but the spectacle of her fall from grace left an indelible mark on the Tower's history. It is said that her ghost still haunts the grounds, a spectral reminder of the capricious nature of power. The tower was also the site of the execution of Catherine Howard, Henry's fifth wife, who, like Anne, was accused of infidelity. Unlike Anne, Catherine was young and naive, unprepared for the deadly intrigue of the Tudor court. Her imprisonment in the tower was marked by desperation and fear, as she pleaded for her life to no avail. Her execution, carried out in February 1542, was another tragic chapter in the Tower's bloody history. As the years passed, the Tower of London continued to serve as a prison for those who challenged the authority of the Crown. Religious strife during the reign of Elizabeth I saw the Tower filled with prisoners of conscience, both Catholics and Protestants, who were tortured and executed for their beliefs. The Tower's dungeons became synonymous with suffering, and the mere mention of its name struck fear into the hearts of those who opposed the monarchy. Yet, amidst the tales of death and despair, there were also stories of resilience and survival. Sir Walter Raleigh, the famed explorer, was imprisoned in the Tower for years, yet he used his time to write and reflect on the world. His History of the World, written during his imprisonment, is a testament to the power of the human spirit to endure even in the darkest of places. As we delve deeper into the Tower's history, it becomes clear that this fortress is more than just a relic of the past. It is a symbol of the complexities of power, the fragility of life, and the enduring legacy of those who lived and died within its walls. The Tower of London is a place where history comes alive, where the echoes of the past still resonate, reminding us of the price of ambition and the cost of betrayal. The Tower's story does not end with the Tudors. In the centuries that followed, it continued to play a central role in the life of the nation, from housing the crown jewels to serving as a military stronghold. But throughout it all, the Tower remained a place of mystery and fear, its walls steeped in the blood of those who had the misfortune to cross its threshold. Even today, the Tower of London continues to capture the imagination of those who visit it. It stands as a monument to a time when the struggle for power was often a matter of life and death, and where the boundaries between hero and villain were not always clear. The Tower's history is a reminder of the darker side of human nature, and the lengths to which people will go to secure their place in the world. The story of the Tower of London is far from over. Its walls still stand, silent witnesses to the passing of time and the ebb and flow of history. As you walk through its corridors, you can feel the presence of those who came before, their stories etched into the very fabric of the building. The Tower of London is not just a place, it is a living history, a testament to the enduring power of the past. As we delve deeper into the Tower of London's history, we begin to see how it served as more than just a fortress or prison. It was a mirror reflecting the monarchy's unyielding grip on power and the lengths to which it would go to secure its dominance. Each monarch who ruled from within the tower's shadow imprinted their legacy on its stone walls, adding layers of intrigue, brutality, and resilience to its already storied past. The tower's significance is particularly evident during the reign of Queen Mary I, a period marked by intense religious conflict. Known to history as Bloody Mary, her efforts to restore Catholicism in England were ruthless, with the tower playing a central role in her campaign. The tower became a symbol of her reign, a place where the Protestant Reformation was brutally suppressed. Notable figures, once powerful and influential, found themselves incarcerated within the tower, awaiting a grim fate. Among them was Lady Jane Grey, the young queen who ruled for just 9 days before Mary claimed the throne. Lady Jane's execution at the Tower at only 16 years old is a haunting reminder of how quickly fortunes could turn in the volatile world of Tudor politics. But the Tower's role in religious persecution did not end with Mary. Her successor, Elizabeth I, faced her own challenges as she sought to establish Protestantism in England. The Tower once again became a tool of repression, housing Catholic conspirators who plotted to overthrow Elizabeth and restore Catholic rule. It was within these walls that the lives of many were extinguished, their hopes crushed by the relentless machinery of state power. The Tower thus became not just a place of imprisonment, but a battleground in the war for England's religious identity, a war that claimed countless lives. While the tower is often associated with the imprisonment of high-profile figures, the true depth of its history lies in the stories of those whose names have been lost to time. Many of these prisoners, ordinary men and women caught up in the tides of history, endured unspeakable suffering within the tower's walls. The instruments of torture used within the tower, such as the rack, the scavenger's daughter, and the manacles, were designed to break the spirit as well as the body. These brutal devices were employed not just to extract confessions, but to demonstrate the power of the crown, a power that was absolute and unchallenged within the tower's confines. Yet, the tower's history is not solely one of despair. It is also a story of endurance, of individuals who resisted their fate, and in some cases even escaped the tower's seemingly inescapable grasp. These tales of survival and defiance add a layer of complexity to the tower's narrative, revealing that even in the darkest of places, the human spirit can endure and even triumph. The tower's legacy is not just defined by the executioner's axe or the torturer's rack, but also by the courage of those who dared to defy their captors. As the centuries passed, the tower's role continued to evolve, but its aura of fear and mystery remained. During the English Civil War, the tower's strategic importance was recognized by both royalists and parliamentarians, each vying for control of this iconic fortress. The tower's status as a symbol of royal power was reaffirmed as it became the site where parliamentarians imprisoned royalist leaders and where the followers of Charles I met their end. The tower, once again, stood at the crossroads of history, a silent witness to the shifting tides of power. As the Tower of London continued to serve its role in the unfolding drama of English history, it witnessed a transformation in both its purpose and the stories it held within its walls. Following the tumult of the English Civil War, the tower began to take on a more symbolic role, though it never fully relinquished its reputation as a place of fear and authority. During the Restoration, when Charles II was restored to the throne, the tower became a powerful symbol of the monarchy's return. However, the tower's function as a prison was far from over. It continued to hold those who posed a threat to the crown, particularly during times of political unrest. One notable prisoner was the Duke of Monmouth, the illegitimate son of Charles II, who led a rebellion against his uncle, James VI. The Duke's capture and subsequent execution at the tower were a grim reminder of the consequences of challenging the monarchy. Even as the tower was increasingly viewed as an anachronism in a modernizing world, it remained a place of last resort for the monarchy to assert its power. In the 18th century, the tower housed prisoners involved in the Jacobite uprisings, who sought to restore the Stuart dynasty to the throne. These uprisings were seen as serious threats to the stability of the realm, and the tower's role in detaining the leaders of these movements reinforced its enduring significance as a tool of state power. The tower's role as a prison began to decline in the 19th century as political and legal reforms reduced the need for such a fortress. However, the tower continued to play a vital role in the ceremonial life of the monarchy. The crown jewels, housed in the Jewel House, became a focal point of the tower's identity, attracting visitors who were fascinated by these symbols of royal power. The yeoman warders, known as beefeaters, who once guarded prisoners, now became guardians of the tower's history, guiding visitors through its storied halls and sharing the tales of its past. But the tower's history of violence was far from over. In the 20th century, during both World Wars, the tower once again became a site of imprisonment and execution. During World War I, several spies were held at the tower, and in 1916, German spy Karl Hans Lodi was executed by firing squad within its walls. This marked the first execution at the tower in over a century and a half, a stark reminder of the tower's capacity for dealing with those deemed enemies of the state. The Second World War saw the tower once again used as a prison for captured enemy agents. The most notable of these was Josef Jacobs, a German spy who became the last person to be executed at the tower. On August 15, 1941, Jacobs was shot by a firing squad, his execution bringing a close to the tower's long history as a place of state-sanctioned death. This event marked the end of an era, but it also underscored the tower's enduring role as a symbol of authority and power. Throughout its history, the Tower of London has stood as a witness to the shifting tides of power, a fortress that has both shaped and been shaped by the events around it. Its walls have seen the rise and fall of kings and queens, the execution of traitors and innocents alike, and the relentless march of history. The Tower's story is one of power and politics, of human suffering and resilience, and of the enduring legacy of a fortress that has stood at the heart of English history for nearly 1,000 years. Today, as visitors walk through the Tower's ancient corridors, they are stepping into a place where history is palpable, where the echoes of the past can still be heard in the creak of a wooden door or the clank of a guard's boot. The Tower of London is not just a monument to the past, it is a living, breathing reminder of the complexities and contradictions of history, a place where the boundaries between legend and reality blur, and where the past continues to shape the present. As we move further into the history of the Tower of London, we find that its legacy is not merely confined to its role as a royal fortress or a grim prison. The Tower has also been a place of innovation and adaptation, reflecting the changing needs and values of the society around it. This adaptability has allowed the Tower to remain relevant across centuries, transitioning from a symbol of medieval power to a cherished historical monument. The Tower's military importance began to wane as advances in warfare made its defensive features obsolete. However, this shift in function did not diminish its significance. Instead, the Tower found new roles, one of which was its transformation into a key site for state ceremonies. The tradition of holding royal processions and state functions at the Tower underscores its continued importance as a symbol of the monarchy and the nation. The crown jewels, kept under heavy guard within the Tower, are a testament to this enduring connection to royal authority. These jewels, glittering with the history of the British monarchy, are not just priceless artifacts. They are powerful symbols of continuity and the unbroken line of royal succession. The Tower also became a center for state records and storage. In the 17th century, the Office of Ordnance established its headquarters within the Tower, overseeing the storage of weapons, armor, and military supplies. This further solidified the Tower's role as a hub of governmental power, even as its military significance diminished. The presence of the Ordnance Office within the Tower's walls highlighted its ongoing relevance to the state's functioning, blending the old with the new. As the Tower's military and administrative roles evolved, so too did its relationship with the public. By the 19th century, the Tower had become a popular tourist destination. The stories of its bloody history, its legendary prisoners, and its role in shaping the course of English history drew visitors from far and wide. The Victorians, in particular, were captivated by the Tower's dark past, and it was during this period that the Tower began to be preserved as a national monument. The Victorians' fascination with the macabre and the Gothic found a perfect home within the Tower's walls, where the stories of beheadings, betrayals, and ghostly apparitions provided a thrilling glimpse into the darker side of history. Yet, while the Tower's past is undeniably filled with tales of violence and power, it is also a place where myths and legends have flourished. The Tower's ravens, for example, are steeped in legend. It is said that if the ravens ever leave the Tower, the kingdom will fall. This superstition, while likely a product of the Victorian imagination, speaks to the deep-seated belief in the Tower's role as a protector of the realm. Today, the ravens are cared for by dedicated keepers, and their presence at the Tower continues to be a symbol of the enduring connection between the fortress and the monarchy. The Tower's history of imprisonment and execution also gave rise to numerous ghost stories, further enhancing its reputation as one of the most haunted places in England. The spirits of Anne Boleyn, Lady Jane Grey, and other famous prisoners are said to wander the Tower's grounds, their tragic stories echoing through the centuries. These tales, while perhaps more legend than fact, contribute to the Tower's mystique, blending history with folklore in a way that captivates the imagination. In more recent times, the Tower has embraced its role as a historical monument, with efforts made to preserve and share its rich history with the world. The Tower's status as a UNESCO World Heritage Site underscores its global significance, recognizing its impact not just on English history, but on world heritage. The conservation efforts undertaken to preserve the tower's structures and artifacts ensure that future generations can continue to explore and learn from this remarkable place. As we stand on the threshold of the tower's final chapters, it's clear that its story is far from over. The Tower of London remains a living monument, one that continues to evolve and adapt, much like the nation it has so long symbolized. From its origins as a formidable fortress to its current status as a cultural icon, the tower's journey through history is a testament to its resilience and its ability to remain relevant across the ages. As the Tower of London enters the modern era, its significance transcends its historical roots, becoming a beacon of national identity and a focal point of Britain's collective memory. The tower's ability to adapt to the changing tides of history while preserving its core identity is a testament to its enduring legacy. In the aftermath of World War II, the tower faced the challenge of remaining relevant in a world where the echoes of its past could easily be drowned out by the rapid pace of modern life. However, instead of fading into obscurity, the tower embraced its role as a custodian of history. The post-war years saw a renewed effort to preserve and showcase the tower's vast and varied past. Archaeological digs uncovered hidden layers of history, revealing the foundations of Roman walls and medieval structures that had long been buried beneath the surface. These discoveries added new dimensions to the tower's story, connecting it to the ancient roots of London itself. The tower's role as a historical monument was further solidified by the increasing number of visitors eager to explore its storied past. The tower became a site of education where people from all walks of life could learn about the complex tapestry of English history. The yeoman warders, once the tower's jailers, now served as guides and storytellers, bringing the tower's history to life for millions of visitors each year. Their colorful uniforms and deep knowledge of the tower's history made them iconic figures, embodying the tower's blend of tradition and accessibility. One of the most significant developments in the tower's modern history was its recognition as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1988. This designation acknowledged the tower's universal value as a cultural and historical landmark, ensuring that it would be preserved for future generations. The tower's inclusion in the World Heritage List marked it as a site of global importance, a place where the history of a nation intersects with the heritage of the world. In recent decades, the tower has also played a role in contemporary British culture, serving as a backdrop for national celebrations and commemorations. The tower's status as a symbol of continuity and stability was highlighted during the Queen's Diamond Jubilee in 2012, when a river pageant passed by the tower, linking the present with the tower's royal past. The tower's iconic silhouette, framed against the backdrop of modern London, serves as a reminder of the enduring legacy of the British monarchy and the nation's history. The tower's significance extends beyond its physical structure. It is a place where history is remembered and honored. The annual ceremony of the keys, a tradition that dates back over 700 years, continues to be performed each night at the tower. This ancient ritual, in which the tower is locked up for the night, symbolizes the enduring connection between the tower and the monarchy. It is a ceremony steeped in tradition, one that has remained unchanged despite the passage of time, reflecting the tower's role as a guardian of the nation's history. As we consider the Tower of London today, it is clear that its story is one of transformation and resilience. The tower has survived the rise and fall of dynasties, the ravages of war, and the challenges of modernization. It has witnessed some of the most pivotal moments in English history, from the Norman Conquest to the Reformation, from the Civil War to the World Wars of the 20th century. Each of these events has left its mark on the tower, adding new layers to its complex history. Yet, despite the changes that have occurred over the centuries, the tower's core identity has remained intact. It is a place where power and authority have been both exercised and challenged, where the lives of the mighty and the humble have intertwined, and where the past continues to shape the present. The Tower of London is more than just a historical monument. It is a living testament to the enduring spirit of a nation. As we draw this exploration of the tower's history to a close, it is worth reflecting on the lessons that this ancient fortress offers us. The tower's story is one of adaptation and survival, of the ways in which history is both preserved and transformed. It reminds us that the past is never truly gone, but rather lives on in the places and traditions that we cherish. The Tower of London, with its rich and multifaceted history, stands as a powerful symbol of the enduring legacy of the British people and their history, a legacy that continues to inspire and captivate all who walk within its walls. The Tower of London's modern-day identity as a place of reverence, memory, and national pride is deeply intertwined with its long and complex history. While the physical structure remains a prominent feature of the London skyline, the stories it holds are what truly breathe life into its ancient stones. In exploring the individual experiences of those who were once confined within its walls, we uncover a more personal aspect of the tower's history. One such figure was Lady Jane Grey, the 9 Days Queen, whose brief reign ended in tragedy. Jane was just 16 when she was imprisoned in the tower after being deposed by Mary I. Her days in the tower were filled with a haunting awareness of her impending fate. Despite her youth, Jane faced her execution with a composed dignity that left a lasting impression on those who witnessed her death. Her story is a poignant reminder of the tower's role as a place where innocence and ambition collided, often with fatal consequences. Another tragic figure was Anne Boleyn, the second wife of Henry VIII, who met her end on the Tower Green. Accused of treason, adultery, and incest, charges widely believed to be fabricated, Anne was executed in 1536. Her final days were marked by a mix of resignation and hope as she waited for the inevitable. The image of Anne, graceful and composed as she made her final walk from the Queen's house to the scaffold, is etched into the tower's history. Her execution, like that of Jane Grey, symbolizes the tower's role as a place where the personal and the political were inextricably linked, where the fate of individuals was often determined by the broader currents of power. The tower's role as a prison extended beyond the confines of royalty. In the 17th century, the tower housed Sir Walter Raleigh, the famed explorer and courtier, who was imprisoned twice for falling out of favor with the crown. Raleigh's second imprisonment lasted 13 years, during which he wrote his History of the World, a monumental work that reflected his deep intellect and restless spirit. Raleigh's imprisonment was a stark contrast to his earlier life of adventure and exploration, yet it also demonstrated the resilience of the human spirit, even in the face of prolonged captivity. His story adds another layer to the tower's history, illustrating how it served as a holding place for those who were out of step with the political winds of the time. The experience of the tower's prisoners was not always marked by an inevitable march to the scaffold. Some, like the notorious Cray twins, who were held at the tower in the 20th century, represent a more modern connection to its history of incarceration. The Crays, infamous gangsters of London's East End, were briefly held at the tower in 1952 for failing to report for national service. Their time in the tower, though brief and lacking the drama of earlier prisoners, links the tower's long history of confinement with the criminal underworld of modern London. The Crays' story, though less tragic than that of Anne Boleyn or Jane Grey, highlights the tower's continuing role as a place where the powerful and the powerless intersect. Comparatively, the Tower of London's role as a prison and place of execution stands in contrast to other historical sites of similar repute. For example, the Bastille in Paris, before its destruction during the French Revolution, was a symbol of royal tyranny, much like the Tower. However, while the Bastille's destruction marked a definitive end to its history as a prison, the Tower of London continued to evolve, maintaining its relevance through the ages. Similarly, other European fortresses, like the Castel Sant'Angelo in Rome, have served both as prisons and as places of refuge for the powerful, yet few have retained the symbolic weight that the Tower of London carries into the present day. The tower's adaptability is evident in its transition from a feared fortress and prison to one of the most visited tourist attractions in the world. Today, the tower is not just a relic of the past, but a living museum where history is actively preserved and interpreted. The ceremonial role of the yeoman warders, who conduct tours and maintain the traditions of the tower, ensures that the stories of the tower's prisoners, its defenders, and its royal inhabitants continue to resonate with visitors. As the tower stands as a testament to the passage of time, it also serves as a reminder of the enduring nature of history itself. The Tower of London is a place where the past is ever present, where each stone, each corner, and each shadow holds a story waiting to be told. It is a place where the triumphs and tragedies of centuries are layered upon one another, creating a narrative that is as complex as it is compelling. In concluding our exploration of the tower's history, we recognize that the Tower of London is not just a structure of stone and mortar, but a living chronicle of a nation's journey through time. It is a place where history is both preserved and made, where the stories of the past continue to inform the present. As we leave the tower's gates, we are reminded that history is not just something to be learned, but something to be experienced and felt. The Tower of London, with all its secrets and stories, remains a powerful symbol of the enduring connection between the past and the present, a place where history comes alive.